All right, a great learning moment to get into now is to do with push notifications. Now, this builds on top of our earlier work on progressive web applications, right? Those superpowers we're giving to our app, making it go above and beyond what it can do with just a normal web application itself, right? Amongst all the capabilities that you make possible, okay, I say make possible because, they don't come without a bit of work here and there. With the PWA, our push notifications, you see them, they were listed right there in the left column near the top, right from the very beginning. So a quick review of what a PWA requires and why this ties in so well, right? Obviously, we know this, good, well-designed application, responsive, etc., secure origin, that goes without saying. I bolded service worker because really that's what makes this stand out from other web notification systems, right? With the service worker, that background script running, okay, on the client machine in the background, the actual application doesn't even need to be open. But because the service worker is there, providing that service, it can receive and let the user know about these notifications. So that's really where the power of this comes from. A couple of things you need for basic PWA there, just to remind ourselves, our manifests, icons, etc., right? Well, we've gone over all that. I'm not going to spend time reviewing everything about PWAs. Just to be aware, of course, this isn't the only game in town, right? Native apps, operating systems, there's all different kinds of notifications that have been around for years. By the way, you might want to look into Azure notification hubs, okay? It really can simplify the process of getting your app to provide notifications as well. Google has their own cloud messaging service, and Firebase is a very popular one you might have heard about before. Quickly do some research on that so you're aware of these other choices out there. But, really Push API, since we're going the PWA route, is an excellent choice to learn about and build upon, right? Okay, we know the value of push notifications, right? They really help to engage our users, let them know immediately. They don't have to wait for their email to, oh, I've never checked my email today. Well, guess what? You've got a notification right away, right? By the way, again, a bit of historical perspective, part of the W3C standard, okay, web notifications have been around for a long time. Great adoption, as it says here, across browsers. But web notifications, that limitation, the browser must be open, okay, to receive the notification. Quite different from Push API, right? Where the service worker listens, we don't need to have the app open at all. And each browser, for the most part, all the major ones, they supply the notification service. So you might have wondered that. Who is looking after us here? Who's giving us these notifications, this service? Well, it's actually the browser vendor that is supplying this, okay? No cost, just way you go, right? Okay, now, building blocks for this. It's basically VAPID. For rapid application development, you go to VAPID, Voluntary Application Server Identification, right? So VAPID is a standard for identifying yourself. There's private and public keys involved, and that is really what the subscriptions are based on, okay? And they are restricted to the origin app. So it's basically an agreement between the origin application and individual devices. Let me emphasize that, devices. So if you want to get your notifications on your mobile phone as well as your desktop browser on your PC, those are two separate subscriptions because each device requires its own subscription, which is why you'll see we planned ahead for that. We set it up so that every user, or in our case, in our app as we were building the demo so far, every employee, if you want to call them staff or anything else, that's fine. Everyone has multiple subscriptions, right? Okay. And of course, what's a good communication system without encryption these days? So by default, there are other choices, but by default, if we use the NuGet package that I'm going to encourage or demonstrate today called Web Push, it installs and utilizes Crypto.js, okay? One of many choices, but it certainly does the job. All right. So I just want to emphasize that the scripts and the code that I'm sharing with you today is not, okay, how you would probably fully want to implement this system in a real application for real clients, right? This is really designed to demonstrate how the system works so you can understand it, right? But you don't normally want to show all of your VAPID keys up on the screen every time you're doing push notifications, so you want to work around that and simplify things, right? But at least we'll get the job done. We'll be able to demonstrate them, getting them configured, getting them in action, and away we go. Okay, so that's our goal. Some useful links, okay, so you can do some research here. Most of these ones on anything to do with the PWA usually has a section on push API as well, right? So the Google one is quite good to look at. I used to have another one here, but the tutorial's gone down. So this is just a general link to everything about PWAs from Microsoft. So that's a good one to look at as well. Lots of things you can do and learn. All right. Okay. So maybe I'll stop and start, and then we'll get into the demo proper.